Hare Hare Ram, Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Samasitam Buddha Sundaram Kandar Agom Vikamaniya Vishesha Shobha Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Andani Yasa Sakalen Priya Priti Manti Vasyanti Bhakti Kayanti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham
Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram. Jaya Radha Shama Sundar, Radha Shama Sundar Radhe. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Srila Prabhupada ki Sri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Satma. Sri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Satma. Bando mohe sabadhana mate Bando mohe sabadhana mate যাহারা প্রসাদে ভাই এ ভবতরিয়া যা যাহারা প্রসাদে ভাই এ ভবতরিয়া যায় কৃষ্ণ প্রাপ্তি হয় যাহার হইতে কৃষ্ণ প্রাপ্তি হয় যাহার হইতে Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Shitte Te Kariya Eka Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Shitte Te Kariya Eka Arna Kariha Mane Asha Arana Kariha Mane Asha Sri Guru Charane Rati Eishe Uttama Gati Sri Guru Charane Rati Eishe Uttama Gati Sri Guru Je prasade pure sarva asha যে প্রসাদে পুরে সর্বাশা চক্ষুদান দিল যেই জন্মে জন্মে প্রভু সেই চক্ষুদান দিল যেই জন্মে জন্মে প্রভু সেই दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशिता दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशिता प्रेम भक्ति जहाँ होते अविद्या विनाश जाते प्रेम भक्ति जहाँ होते अविद्या विनाश जाते वेदे गाए जहरा चरिता श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु अधम जनारा बंधो लोकनाथ लोकेरा जीवाना हाँ हाँ प्रभु कर दया देह मोरे पाद छाया हाँ हाँ प्रभु कर दया देह मोरे पाद छाया एवे जस गोसुक त्रिभुवना श्रील प्रभुपाद पतित पावना जय प्रभुपादा 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 जय प्रभुपादा जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय प्रभुपाद Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namo Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunnavade Paschata Desatarine Namaste Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Chaitanya Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. सब ये बोलिए बोलिए हरि बोल। कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे हरे राम, हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम हरे राम, राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे राम, हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण, कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम हरे राम, राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम, राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण हरे राम, हरे कृष्ण Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
Hare Krishna. Any Mridanga player can come? You play? Okay, fine. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Dadabhaktaya Namo Namaha Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yamuna Tera Vanachari Yamuna Tera Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yamuna Tera Vanachari Yamuna Tera Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Shama Sundara Radha Shama Sundara Radhe. Jaya Radhe Sham Radhe Sham Radhe Sham Jaya Radhe Sham. Jaya Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram. Jaya Gauran Vitai, Gauran Vitai, Gauran Vitai, Jaya Gauran Vitai. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Vishnupada Paramahamsa Vichaya Shota Shota Shishmachila A.C. Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jaya Vishnupada Paramahamsa Vichaya Shota Shota Shishmachila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Srila Prabhupada ki Ananta Kodi Vaishnavavrinda ki Sri Rup Sri Sanatan Vattaraganath Sri Jiva Gopal Bhattata Saraganath Sari Goswami Prabhu ki प्रेम से को श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवजरि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री राधा कृष्ण गो गोपा गोपी गोपीनाचाम कुंद राधा कुंद गिरि गोवर्धन की वृंदावन धाम की मथुरा धाम की मायापुर धाम की जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की तुलसी महारानी भक्ति देवी की गंगा यमुना देवी की हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की श्री श्री गौनिताय की Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki, Shri Shri Radha Shama Sundar ki, Go Premanande Hari Hari Bol, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narotamam devim sarasatim vyasam tato jayamudирayet nashtapaye shabadesho nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistike ete cham sakala pumsam krishnastu bhagavan swayam indriyari vyakulam lokam hridyante yuge yuge Nama Sankirtanam Yasya Sarva Papa Pranasanam Pranoma Dukha Samanastam Namami Harim Param Nigama Kalpa Taror Gadam Palam Sukamagadam Rita Devasam Mudam Vivada Bhagadam Rasamalayam Muhuro Horasikabu Vibhavukaham. So we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 2nd chapter. Fourth chapter, text number 24 and 25. First, we'll read text number 24. And there's no purport, and then we'll read text number 25. So text number 25 is written, so we'll read text number 24, and then together we can read text number 25. Text 24. Mochayam asanigadat vishabdha kanyakagira devakim vasudevam cha dashayam atmasauridam. Translation. Fully believing in the words of the goddess Durga, Kamsa exhibited his familial affection for Devaki and Vasudev by immediately releasing them from their iron shackles. Text number 25. Bratu sammanutaptasya chantam rosha cha devaki vyasrijad vasudevascha prahasya tam uvacha ha bratu samanutaptasya shantarosha cha devaki vyasrijad vasudevascha prahasyatam uvachaha Pratu samanutaptasya Shantarosha cha devaki Vyasrijat vasudevascha Prahasyatam uvachaha. Bratu samanutaptasya
Shantarosha cha devaki
Shantarosha cha devaki
Vyasrijat vasudevascha
Vyasrijat vasudevascha
Prahasyatam uvachaha
Prahasyatam uvachaha.
Pratu samanutaptasya
Pratu samanutaptasya Shantarosha cha Devaki Yasvijad Vasudevascha Prahasyatam uvachaha Prato samanutaptasya Shantarosha cha Devaki Vyasvijad Vasudevascha Prahasyatam uvachaha Prato samanutaptasya Shantarosha cha Devaki Vyasvijad Vasudevascha Prahasyatam uvachaha Prato samanutaptasya Shantarosha cha Devaki Vyasvijad Vasudevascha Prahasyatam uvachaha. Mataji? Prato samanutaptasya Shantarosha cha Devaki Vyasvijad Vasudevascha Prahasyatam uvachaha. Mataji? Prato samanutaptasya Shantarosha cha Devaki Prato toward her brother Kamsa samanutaptasya because of his being regretful. Shantarosha was relieved of anger. Cha also Devaki, Krishna's mother Devaki, Vyasrijat gave up. Vasudeva cha, Vasudeva also, Prahasya, smiling, Tam, unto Kamsa, Uvacha, said, Ha, in the past. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki, when Devaki saw her brother actually repentant while explaining ordained events, she was relieved of all anger. Similarly, Vasudeva was also free from anger. Smiling, he spoke to Kamsa as follows, purport. Devaki and Vasudeva, both highly elevated personalities, accepted the truth presented by Kamsa, that everything is ordained by providence. According to the prophecy, Kamsa would be killed by the 8th child of Devaki. Therefore, Vasudeva and Devaki saw that behind all these incidents was a great plan devised by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because the Lord had already taken birth, just like a human child, and once in the safe custody of Yashoda, everything was happening according to plan. And there was no need to continue their ill feeling toward Kamsa. Thus they accepted Kamsa's words. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshuran Militam Yanam Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Sabadantigam Bandeyam Sri Guru Sri Yudhabadagamanan Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishagandvidamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gavigaganta Radha Kanta Namastade Tatta Ganjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshari Vishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Paditanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So here in this chapter, Kamsa, he had tried to kill the 8th child of Vasudeva and Devaki, which was actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. So although he was materially speaking well-to-do, knowledgeable, but his fault was that he was against the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so because of that, of course, ultimately he was killed. So by the arrangement of the Lord, as explained here, by Srila Prabhupada in the purport, that the 8th child, which was their child, Krishna, so he was brought to Vrindavan by Vasudeva with the help of the internal potency, Yoga Maya, which orally was not possible. He was in a prison, so there was no question of becoming free. By the Lord's will, by the help of the internal potency, the gates opened, the iron shackle opens, and he was able to bring his child to the house of his friend, Nanda Maharaj. And so he put his child there, and he got the girl which was born, which appeared, which was also the manifestation of the internal potency, Yoga Maya. And he brought her back, and Kamsa, so he had heard that it is a child, the 8th child, and everyone was a little bit surprised, because it was expected to be a boy who was supposed to kill, or trying. So he was very much afraid. Sisi Gonitai ki, Sisi Krishna Balaram ki, Sisi Radha Shama Sundar. But so, everyone was surprised, and so Vasudeva and Devaki, so they were somewhat peaceful because their child was saved. At least for the time being. Of course, they knew that is the Supreme Lord, but still out of natural affection, some anxiety was there. And also it is mentioned because the little girl was there, which was the child of their friends. So Vasudeva was the friend of Nanda Baba, and Devaki was the friend of Yashoda. Therefore, Devaki didn't want that child also to be killed. And it was a girl also. And so she begged Kamsa to please not to kill that child. But he didn't listen, and cruel as he was, and he killed that child also. He tried to kill that child by taking by force the child from Devaki and tried to smash the child on a stone. So endeavored to do that, but then she slipped from his hands. And then, so that was actually Durga Devi, and she spoke to him and told him that the 8th child is already somewhere else. And so he was surprised, but as mentioned by the Acharyas, by Prabhupada, that many times the artistic persons, they are worshipping the demigods, especially in India, in order to get material benefits. So they worship Durga Devi, or Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, Lord Indra. So he was surprised that how come she has come as the child of Vasudeva and Devaki. So because of this, that Durga had appeared as a child, so he had some respect for them. And then he realized this mistake of killing so many of the children, 6, the 7th. So it was apparently a miscarriage, but by Yogamaya also, Shankarshan Balaram was moved from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini by transcendental arrangement. So Kamsa, he spoke very respectfully to Vasudeva and Devaki, and then he spoke philosophy also, that actually everything is happening by providence. So they had to be killed. So actually it is not my fault. And so from one point of view, what he was saying, it was right. And as Prabhupada has mentioned also in one of the purports, at the same time, still it was actually very atrocious what he was doing. But sometimes one is puzzled how things are happening, not only amongst the non-devotees, but even sometimes amongst the devotees. Sometimes things are not happening exactly as we want, as we plan, but we have to always try to see the hand of the Lord, the will of the Lord. And sometimes we cannot understand why things are happening, but we just have to accept it and just move on, and in a humble way, depending on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and seeing everything as His plan. And so if everything is going fine, then we give credit to the Supreme Lord. But if things are not working out, then the devotee, he will blame himself, that things are not working out due to my mistakes, due to my previous sinful activities. I have to suffer in this way, or I did something wrong just now also, or in this life, and therefore things are not working out. So the humble devotee is in that state of mind. Whereas those who are not so advanced, even sometimes we can see devotees, they will take credit for what they have done. And if something is not working out nicely, then they are blaming others. But it should not be like that. But whatever positive we can do, that is by the mercy of Hari Guru Vaishnav, of the Supreme Lord, the spiritual master and the Vaishnavas. And if things are not working out nicely, then it is our fault. So we should be in that state of mind. So Vasudeva and Devaki, so they are the perfect examples of pure devotees having the proper consciousness. although Kamsa, he killed the children, 6 of them, which is very, of course, devastating for the parents if the child is killed. Not only 1 but 6. But still, when Kamsa approached them and begged forgiveness, then they immediately accepted that. So they were relieved of all anger, it is mentioned here, kshantarosha. So we can understand that before they were somewhat angry at Kamsa. Of course, they were in the prison, nothing they could do against him. But the anger was there in the heart, but they couldn't express it, and there was no chance. So, but after he had spoken and begged forgiveness, then immediately they gave up this ill feelings towards Kamsa, and they gave up this anger. So which is, so again we can see the nature of a devotee, the advanced devotees. Immediately, if, so they have, first of all, if they have done something wrong, immediately they will beg forgiveness from the other person. If they've realized I offended somebody, then they will beg forgiveness. At the same time, so when somebody is doing something wrong to them, and they don't feel well, then they will, but if the other person then will beg forgiveness immediately, they will give up their ill feelings, their anger. So that is, so we can see from these examples of the scriptures how we should, what is the exemplary behavior of a devotee. And as we know, different devotees are there, first class, second class, third class, and maybe in fourth class, fifth class. So we should try to become first class, which is not so easy, which will take some time to become a pure devotee on the highest level. But then at least Prabhupada used to say, try to become a madhyamadhikari, that is the devotee on the second stage, or the medium platform. When one is fixed, one has love for the Lord, and one is able to deal nicely with other devotees and is trying to help others, especially the fallen conditioned souls, so they may also become devotees. But this, yes, so this neophyte mentality should be given up, thinking about oneself, I and mine, which may also be there in the devotee. Aham mameti, I and mine. So that is a materialistic person is thinking, like Kamsa is thinking about himself, about his whatever belongs to him, his close family members, and is ready to do the most sinful activities so that he can continue with his plan for his sense gratification. So as devotees, one has to give up that which may still be there, I and mine. So the neophyte devotees, he will think about himself and just what he has, his family members, and then he may not be able to treat others nicely. So that is called a Kanishta devotee. It is mentioned in the Bhagavatam 11th canto, great sages, the 9 Yogendras are speaking to one king, King Nimi. And there he has explained, so one of them, so he was asking the sages one by one, they were answering his questions. So there, one of them explained about the 3 kinds of devotees, first class, second class, and third class devotee. The first class devotee is one who is always absorbed in the service of the Lord, who is seeing Krishna everywhere, in the heart of everyone. As is explained also in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, that Stavara Jangama Deki, Stavara Jangama Deki na Deki, and then Sarvatra Hai Nija Ishta Devi Spurti. So he doesn't, when he sees the Stavara Jangama, Stavara means those who are fixed, means even the trees and the plants, and the jangama, that which is moving, the human beings, the animals, the birds. Naideki Murti, he doesn't just see the body and the form, Murti, but Sarvatra Hayanicha is the Ishtadeva Spurti. But everywhere he sees the Ishtadev. So the Ishtadev Spurti means the Lord is revealed. So practically, as it is mentioned also, that Adasi Krishna Nabadi Nababedgriyam Indriya Sevamukhi Jivado Supurateva Adaha. That by the material senses we cannot see Krishna. Of course, Krishna comes in the deity form, so we can start seeing Krishna and serve him, have a relationship. But in order to see Krishna as he is, in his Satchidananda Sarup, and then so for that one has to be highly advanced. So the advanced devotee will see Krishna as he is. Premanjana Charita Bhakti Premanjana Charita Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sadeva Hiriyeshu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundaram Achinta Guna Sarupam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. He will see in his heart Shama Sundar because he has love for Krishna. And then he sees Krishna everywhere, not only in the temple, but in the heart of all the beings, human beings, not only the moving, but also those who are fixed, like the trees. So he doesn't just see the body, but he sees the Lord. He's Ishtadev everywhere. So, and this is everything connected to Krishna. Everything is coming from Krishna. So that is the advanced devotee. And the second class devotee is he who has faith in the Lord, but he may not always see Krishna as he is. But he is able to nicely engage in devotional service, serving those who are senior, hearing from them about the Supreme Lord, exchanging realizations with those who are on the same level, and is merciful towards the devotees who are who have just started coming to the path of devotional service, and is trying to help them. And is trying to give this knowledge to others also, who have not yet come to the path. And is avoiding those who are envious. And about the neophyte devotees, it is explained, even though they may worship the Lord, but if they do not behave nicely with others, if they don't know how to deal with others, then they're called prakrita bhaktas, materialistic devotees, neophyte devotees. Usually those who are worshipping the deities are expected to be advanced, properly situated, and nicely engaged in devotional service, having a good relationship with everyone. So, but if one is engaged on the altar serving the Lord, but is not able to deal nicely with others, not only devotees, but with other persons also, then is called a materialistic devotee. We have to know what are the symptoms of the advanced devotees, and then one should engage in devotional service. Of course, simply by engaging in devotional service, the heart becomes purified, and then naturally these qualities of an advanced devotee will manifest slowly but surely. At the same time, we have to also know, we have to acknowledge, and then we have to try to see that we can develop these qualities, which are mentioned there in the scriptures. So Vasudev, as explained here, prahasya. So he was smilingly he was speaking to Kamsa. So that means when one is smiling, of course, that means one is satisfied, and there is no anger is there, no ill feelings are there. And Prabhupada is explaining in the purport that they understood, Vasudeva and Devaki, that the Lord has a plan, that everything was happening according to plan. So they wanted to save their child, so that was accomplished. And then also the girl, so which was the child of Nanda Baba and Yashoda, was also saved. So they were naturally very, very happy. And then they also remembered, of course, that the prophecy was there that ultimately Kamsa will be killed. So they understood that the Lord is there and is protecting them, and then that in due course of time that he will also kill this atrocious person, Kamsa, which was the cousin brother of Devaki. So we should try in our life also, although it is sometimes very difficult if things are not working out nicely, and difference of opinions are there amongst the devotees also, and somebody is doing something which we may not like or say something, it may be difficult to tolerate, but one has to tolerate, and also, well, the saying is there, one should forget and forgive. Forget and forgive. Forget what happened and forgive. So to forgive, that is the first thing. If something had happened between devotees and then we may not like something, then we should try to forgive the other person. And so that may be there. Of course, sometimes forgetting is difficult. If something happened and deeply affected the heart, but then we should still, because it is there in the consciousness, and things which are very positive, things which give us great pleasure, that is a positive impression which usually stays long. We may remember, 10 years ago we had such a nice festival here, or let's say the 40th anniversary of the installation of the deities here, or the 25th anniversary. Oh, it was such a nice program. So that will stay for a long time. Or maybe Prabhupada speaking to his disciple, and then the disciple maybe just 1 or 2 times, but then they will remember that the whole life. Prabhupada spoke many times to you, Prabhuji? Prabhupada? He spoke to you personally many times, or?
Not many times.
1 or 2 times?
Just for Guru Puja.
Oh yeah. But I'm sure you can remember very nicely. Of course, if one has served for a long time, like Shrutikirti Prabhu, then so many exchanges are there, but some things which are positive, they will stay for a long time. Similarly, if something happened which is not very nice according to our understanding, or what we feel, that may also stay for a long time. If you see, for example, maybe an accident, or maybe a good friend, and maybe we have seen that, left the body, they may also stay, and they may come up again and again in the consciousness. Whereas ordinary things may be positive or negative, which so they may just come and go. But things which are giving some great pleasure, so the positive things, they may stay in the consciousness, and things which are shocking to us, they may also stay longer. So definitely here, that Kamsa, he killed his 6 children. So that was very shocking to them. Of course, there was already some, because of the prophecy, and so it was, they didn't know that this is going to happen. But then they saw, and they didn't expect, but then that happened, it was very shocking. And every year, of course, after 2-3 years, they could understand that most probably he will kill the other ones also. And then so anger, frustration, sadness was there, and the ill feelings, and that definitely they stayed for their whole life in the heart. Because a child is one's own child, if it is coming and it is being killed in such a way, so that will stay. They can, something like this one cannot forget. But they were forgiving. And they didn't keep the ill feelings, okay, it is by the will of providence that this happened, what to do? Which is a fact also, And it is explained that they were the Vasus, due to some offense, they were forced to appear in this way and to be killed. At the same time, to do something like this, to kill, that we should try to avoid or harm somebody by all means. But sometimes, of course, as a devotee, usually one will not go to that extreme, although, I mean, what to say. But we have seen some incidents also of devotees doing things which are highly improper. Even we have seen here in the Krishna Balaram temple, and so what to do? I was going to Mangalatik and there was some conflicts were there, and then one person shot the other one. So what to do? And then we may also think how this can happen. But then by ultimately the will of the Lord, as it is mentioned, not even a blade of grass can move without the will of the Lord. And then of course mixed feelings may be there, but then due to various reasons something happens sometimes like that. And sometimes you may not understand, but then sometimes we may also understand why things are happening. So, but whatever it may be, but one has to go on in life, and sometimes it is very difficult to understand why things are happening. Just like the Pandavas, they were pure devotees of the Lord, but they were driven out of the kingdom for many years, although Krishna was there. And somebody may be thinking, why Krishna didn't do anything? And they had to undergo so much difficulty. But Krishna has a plan, and sometimes Krishna doesn't do things very fast, but he takes a little time for various reasons. But we just have to move on, and even if we don't understand Krishna's plan, no problem, but we have to move on. But sometimes it may be revealed also what is Krishna's plan. But the main thing is that we have to serve Krishna, and we have to always be in a humble state of mind, and be very tolerant and very respectful. And in the age of Kali, the Yuga Dharma is chanting the holy name, so we always have to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, in the age of Kali, which is the four ages are there, Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga and Kali Yuga. So Kali Yuga people are most, they have short span of life, up to 100 years at the most, and they are not very intelligent, not good memory, and so they are, and as it is mentioned in Bhagavatam, always disturbed. So in the age of Kali, everyone is basically quite fallen, not so much interested in spiritual life. Kala Shudra Sambhavaha, just like Shudras. But by the special mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so even the fallen souls of the age of Kali, they can make a rapid advancement, even come to the highest stage of pure devotional service and enter into relationship with Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the source of everything. So go to the highest realm, Golok Vrindavan, by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And so, therefore we have to always take shelter of Mahaprabhu, even before taking shelter of Krishna. As a matter of fact, without the mercy of Mahaprabhu, it is almost impossible to take shelter of Krishna in the age of Kali. And so we are able to take shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by first of all taking shelter of his representative, the spiritual master, and his associates. Just like today is the appearance day of Gopal Bhatta Goswami, is one of the 6 Goswamis. Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyugo Sijiva Gopalako. So praying to the 6 Goswamis in order to be able to to take shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Gopal Bhatta Goswami, he was actually from South India, from a Brahmana family, and his father and uncle, Vikant Bhatta and Prabhadananda Saraswati Thakur, they were worshipping Lakshmi Narayan. And so in Sri Rangam in South India, famous temple is there of Vishnu lying on Ananta Shesh, and a huge temple is there, actually the biggest temple in India, and there are 7 walls surrounding the main temple, built by the different great personalities known as the Alvars. So a very impressive place. And there the Sri Vaishnavas are worshipping in the Sampradaya from Lakshmi Devi. Of course, Narayan is Adi Guru, and then Lakshmi Devi was there instrumental in giving some knowledge, and then the Acharya is Ramanujacharya. So great devotees are there, and their deity worship is very exemplary. Even Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he took some elements of their deity worship and in his worship of the deities of Mahaprabhu and Radha Krishna, which was then of course also adopted and followed by Srila Prabhupada. Also they're very expert in performing yagyas and the samskars, purificatory rites and fire sacrifices. So he appeared there, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after taking sannyas, he was staying in Jagannath Puri, and so one time he decided to look for his out. So he was telling his devotees also that I want to find out where my brother has gone, Vishwarup. So it was his elder brother who had taken sannyas early, and but actually he, as is the purpose of his coming to this world, is to deliver the fallen conditioned souls, and that is why also he entered the sannyas ashram in order to be fully absorbed in preaching or in giving the holy names and giving Krishna Upadesh, the instructions of Krishna of the Bhagavad-Gita. So he was going, and finally, of course, he also went to the place and met the devotees there who had seen Vishwarup, that is in Pandharpur, where he also left the body. But as he was touring South India, so he went to Sri Rangam, and he stayed there for Chaturmas, for the 4 months of the rainy season. And usually the followers of the Vedic scriptures, Vedic culture, the Vaishnava scriptures and culture, during Chaturmas they will not usually, at that time especially, they were not traveling because there's so much rain, especially in South India, and then it is a little difficult to travel, and there were no airplanes, trains, and so it was then for them easier to just stay in one place, and then they were simply chanting the holy names and then discussing the scriptures with the other devotees, and then performing some tapasya, some austerity, because sometimes while preaching one is meeting materialistic persons, and then one's consciousness may be polluted to some extent. So in order to become purified, they will for 4 months stay in one place, taking the opportunity of the rainy season, and they will just be amongst themselves, the sannyasi, and usually even those who are for example doing madhukari, begging from others, even in Braj, usually during Chaturmas they will not go to others' houses to beg some chapati and some roti or some chawal. Whatever they have, at the most, if they need, they will take some atta, some rice, but then they will cook themselves. They will not take anything cooked from somebody else, from the householders, just in order to purify themselves in case there's some slight contamination, which can very easily happen in the association of materialistic people, or even the devotees who are not so advanced, who are still materialistic. So therefore they will stay in one place for 4 months, and they will cook for themselves, and they will discuss Krishna Katha, do some austerity and increase their hearing and chanting. So he was doing that, and he was discussing with the father and uncle of Gopal Bhatta. And of course he came to speak about, or to give Braj Bhakti, the wonderful loving devotional service of the inhabitants of Braj, which is the most exalted form of devotional service, and especially gopis. So he came to give this Braj Bhakti, so he was speaking about Braj and how Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and everyone is an expansion of Krishna. And so he convinced them, and they also became devotees of Krishna. And and of course Prabhupada Saraswati Thakur is actually one of the gopis, Tungavidya, and Krishna Lila. So the Gopal Bhatta Goswami, he was a small boy at that time, but he was ready to go with Mahaprabhu. But then Mahaprabhu told him, no, you stay at home and you serve your parents and your uncle. Of course, then the uncle also left, and he came to Vrindavan and stayed here and writing some very wonderful books also, Vrindavan Mahimandarita. And Radha Rasa Shuddha Nidhi, one book glorifying Srimati Radharani, beautiful verses are there. So he served his parents, and then Mahaprabhu said, so you serve your parents, but after they leave, you can go to Vrindavan. And then you may also write some transcendental literatures and excavate the lost holy places like he told the other Goswamis, Rupan Sanatan especially, and Raghunath Das Goswami. And so he was actually a great scholar, Gopal Bhatta Goswami. And he actually, Hari Bhakti Vilas, there's one book, famous book by Sanatan Goswami, explaining the rules and regulations for the devotees according to Vana Ashram, the rules for the 4 Vanas and 4 Ashramas, and about the different samskars, and how to install the deities, or establish temples, and about the process of devotional service, Sambandha, Videya, Prayojan, Gyan. So much knowledge is there. But actually, he got a lot of information from Gopal Bhatta Goswami. And even Gopal Bhatta Goswami helped him in whatever editing they were doing, and to compile the book also. Therefore, many they will say that actually Hari Bhakti Vilas is by Gopal Bhatta Goswami. But Gopal Bhatta Goswami, he didn't take any credit, and therefore we also accept that that Sanatan Goswami is the compiler with the help of Gopal Bhatta Goswami of Hari Bhakti Vilas. Another very important book, very famous amongst the Vaishnavas, is Jiva Goswami's Sat Sandarbhas, which is also very important, and even it is mentioned actually, there's a shloka also mentioning that in order to fully and properly understand the Srimad Bhagavatam, one should read the Sat Sandarbhas. Because there in the Sat Sandarbhas he has taken many of the verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam and other scriptures also, firmly establishing all the truths which are mentioned there in the Bhagavatam. First of all, that Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan. Ete Chamsa Kalapumsam, Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam. And all others are the expansions. And he has also established that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Swayam Bhagavan. And then is not different from Krishna. And then he's explaining about Paramatma, and then the Brahma Jyoti, that these are simply manifestations of Krishna. And then of course about devotional service, Sambandha Gyan, Abhideya Gyan, Prayojan Gyan, and that the highest form of devotional service is by of course the Brijabasis. So that actually, most of the shlokas of this Sat Sandarbhas was actually collected by Gopal Bhatta Goswami. But then Jiva Goswami he collected, and then he edited, and then he presented in the form as it is now presented. But he's giving all credit to Gopal Bhatta Goswami for this Satsandarbhas. And then he wrote one important book known as Sakriya Saradipika. Sakriya. So the activities which are very essential, and so that which shows, Sakriya Sar, the essence of the activities to be performed. So that which shows, that is Sakriya Saradipika. In that book he has explained, which is important for the householders especially, with the majority of the devotees anyway, also householders, and so they should, and usually of course one may not be able to read so many books, but then those, especially the Vaishnava Brahmanas, they are supposed to know, and the priests and the pujaris, and so it is about how to perform the different samskars, purificatory rites, like for example how to do a marriage ceremony, then the name-giving ceremony, and the first giving of the grains. So that is explained according to our Vaishnava understanding. So that he has presented that book. Some other small books he has also presented. So we are greatly indebted to Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Of course, he is also most famous for the worship of Shaligram, and so he went one time to the Himalayas and Tibet, Nepal, where the Gandaki river is flowing, a holy river, and inside there the Shaligram Shilas are there. So the devotees who have the Shaligram Shila, so they are getting from the Gandaki river, like Indra Prabhu has in his room 2,000 something Shilas, 2,200 or 300. So they're all from the Gandaki river. Most of them, of course, they were brought to him, but he also went one time when he had to get a visa. And there's one other place in Tibet known as Damodar Kund. Very difficult to go there, a big challenge. You have to walk for many, many days, and difficult to get something to eat also because it's so high. And but I know some devotees who went there. And so in that Damodar Kund, which is quite small now, there are some shilas also. And even it is mentioned in scriptures about that, and it is mentioned, if you chant the Purusha Shukta prayers, of course with some love and feelings, Sasrache sa Purusha Sasraksha Sahasrapacha Bhumim Vishvato Vritva Atyatishta Dashangulam Purushavedam Sarvam Yadbhutam Bhavyam, and so on, then the Shaligram Shila will come out and you can take them. That means maybe they are ground in the ground and then they come to the surface and you can pick them up. That's what it is said. And of course Purusha Shukta is referring to the Virat Roop, Sahasra Shirsha Purushaha, the Purush with thousands of heads, thousands of eyes, thousands of arms, thousands of feet. So, of course referring to the manifestation of Vishnu, but even ultimately Krishna, as we know, he also manifested Virat Roop in front of Arjun, and it is even said one time, also Duryodhana was able to see, but he could not really understand what's happening. Whereas Arjun, he could understand, it's a manifestation of Krishna. But then he said, I saw this form, but please, I want to see your four-arm form. And then after that, please, I want to see your two-arm form. Because the 1,000-headed form of the Lord Virat Roop, is okay, but four-arm form is more nicely and more easily to see and to approach and to have a loving exchange. But then the two-arm form is even more beautiful of Krishna and Vasudeva Krishna. So therefore also Vasudeva and Devaki first to show them that they are the Lord, so they appear in four-arm form, but then they requested him to appear in two-arm form as a child, so which he did. Even in Dwarka sometimes Dwarkadish is there with four-arm form, but mostly is there in two-arm form. That is most appreciated by the devotees there also. So Gopal Bhatta Goswami got the Shilas from there, actually because also a great devotee, so you can see. And usually devotees, they know the Purusha Sukta. Even Mahaprabhu, when he first manifested that he is the Supreme Lord, and he told Shiva's Pandit, you call all the devotees, and he sat on the Singhasan of the Lord and told Shiva's Pandit, call all the devotees, and they all came, and they saw they are sitting, and then he told them, chant the Purusha Sukta prayers, and all the devotees chanted Purusha Sukta prayers. So the Brahmanas, the Pujaris, and when deities are installed, the Purusha Sukta prayers are supposed to be chanted. And in elaborate deity worship, every day the Pujari is supposed to chant Purusha Sukta prayers. So the Brahmanas, they should know. But most important is the love. And Gopal Bhatta Goswami, he didn't chant the Purusha Sukta prayers, but he wanted to take his bath in the morning. But maybe most probably he was chanting the Maha Mantra. And he was putting the bucket, no shower was there, going to evacuate next to, a little far from the river. And then with mud, they clean the hands, and then going to river to take bath. And so then he was taking the bucket from the holy river, and then of course he had a little lota, a little pot to take out the water to take bath from the bucket. So I was taking the bucket, and then the Shaligram Shila came in there. And he was thinking, well, I don't really want to worship Shaligram. And he would put them, Yugadam is chanting holy names. So he put them back in the river. And then again he put the water, the bucket inside. And then the Shaligram again came in. So it means Krishna himself, he wanted to be worshipped. And then again he put inside. So 3 times, and he understood, well, the 3rd time, that means Shaligram Shila, they want to come to me, so I should worship them. So then he came back to Vrindavan, was worshipping. But then the other Goswamis, like Rupa Goswami, was worshipping Govinda Dev, beautiful form of Krishna. Madan Mohan was worshipped by Sanatana Goswami. So he also wanted to worship the beautiful form of Krishna. Of course, Shaligram is there, and we usually decorate as a face, and then the legs and the hands, everything is there, but we may not see, we see the face. But we put tulsi on the bottom part, understanding that the feet are there also. And then by worshipping every day, then you can see Krishna also. But he was so eager to worship Krishna's beautiful form. And then so he was praying and praying to the Lord. And then on Nishinga Chaturdasi, at the appearance day of Nishingadev, of course, according to Titi, Nishingadev appeared much before, but so on the Utsav is performed, the festival of, and then Abhishek is performed. But then, so he was praying and praying, and then breaking the fast in the evening with some Ekadashi Prasad. And the next morning, so he was going to take bath, again with a bucket, and he was doing a simple way. He took the shilas in the bucket and putting them in the Jamuna river 3 times, and then drying them, and then after maybe offering some little bhoga and incense and ghee lamp. In a simple way he was doing the worship. As he was going, he saw that one shila, he saw from the back side, still the shila was there, but from front side, a beautiful form was there. That is Radha Raman. Radha Raman Jo Ki. And then he established Radha Raman in the temple, and then a beautiful worship was started from his time. And then one of the disciples did the worship, and then so now still it is going on very nicely. And Prabhupada one time also told the devotees, you can go there and see how they're worshipping very nicely. And still the other shilas are still there in the Samadhi of Gopal Bhatta Goswami, which is just next to the temple, Radharaman temple. And you can go around, and where the Samadhi, sometimes people say, well, how come Indra Prabhu's deities are there and the Samadhi is there? It's not proper. But no, the great personality, the body is transcendental. And there you can see where the samadhi is. So of Gopabhata Goswami, and then to the side, the Shilas are there, and they are worshipped there, in the samadhi. You can go and do parikrama of Gopabhata Goswami samadhi, and the side is a window, and you can see the shaligram, and you can see nicely also the samadhi, you can see the shaligram are there. So they are still worshipped. I think there were 12 in the beginning, now there must, maybe they got another one, because usually one will worship a kshetra that is 12 shaligram shilas. So anyhow, it is already past 9:15, so we should stop. So much more to say, but we have to stop. Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami ki. So it is mentioned that in Krishna Lila, so is there in Gaur Lila, as an associate of Mahaprabhu is Krishna Lila, and Krishna Lila is there as Guna Manjari, one of the Manjaris, assistants of Srimati Radharani. Today is also the disappearance day of Ramchandra Kaviraj, so a great poet. He was a friend of Narottam Das Thakur, and also instrumental in preaching Krishna consciousness in some part of India, in the eastern side. So we don't have much time to speak about him, but we just do Jaikar. Srila Ramachandra Kaviraj Tirubhav Titi ki, Ramachandra Kaviraj ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki, Go Premanande, Hari Hari Bo, Hare Krishna.